Yo, how's it going, everyone? It's SGS one more time. Good to be back in front of you guys once again. I've got a dope piece of content today. You know, one of the things we always talk about is this concept of modern women. And what that basically entails is the ways in which women in general respond to a modern society, where she's encouraged to indulge in all manner of foolishness and the ways in which it influences the way she interacts with relationships, the way she interacts with men, so on and so forth. But one of the things men always forget to understand is there are women who are just as unplugged from the society as we are as men who consume this content. This video is dedicated to those women and their commentary against a lot of the foolishness that we constantly talk about on these spaces. There are plenty of dime pieces out there. There are plenty of quality women who understand the way the Most High ordained relationships to go. And here are a few examples of that. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
When women were supposedly oppressed, men died in wars to protect those women. Let that sink in.
And sometimes it's literally that simple. One theme that you constantly hear talked about is this time in history where men were just these terrible, evil monsters and women were just these poor, innocent creatures that were just constantly at the mercy of us. And it's just not true. Like, there's this idea of the patriarchy. Patriarchy just means controlled by men. Matriarchy just means controlled by women. That's all that means. But unfortunately, we've been conditioned to think this boogeyman word of patriarchy speaks to this time where men were just these terrible people and we just slaughtered everybody. And see, the only difference between patriarchy and matriarchy is under patriarchy, there's power and responsibility. Under matriarchy, there's just power with no responsibility. So a woman can go to the family court and destroy her husband because she's assumed to be the victim. She can go sue for alimony even though she's a cheater. She can sue for custody even though she wrecked her home. That's not oppression. That's absolute privilege. She has no incentive to behave responsibly. That's power without responsibility, right? And so if patriarchy means controlled by men, that's not a bad thing if there's responsibility that takes place there. If there's just power, that's tyranny. And that's what we're currently in. We're in a society where women are put in positions of power. Women are put in positions of leverage with no responsibility. You see, under patriarchy, where women did not have the right to divorce, men were still held to a higher standard. You had to be honorable. There had to be a legitimate reason as to why you were dissolving the marriage, such as legitimate forms of abuse and other things that can be proven. But when you had the advent of no-fault divorce, women could just leave a marriage just because it was convenient to do. And that's what we're seeing today. We're seeing her being able to weaponize the state against a man with no responsibility, but with absolute power. She's always going to be perceived to be the victim no matter what. No matter how terrible of a person she is, she will be perceived as the victim. She doesn't have to behave in a responsible manner with the power that she's given. This is why I tell men you need to be avoiding these institutions because it's setting you up for failure. It's putting you in a position that you were never intended to be as a man. Women are not oppressed. Let me say that again. Women are not oppressed in this society. We live in the freest, most liberated part of the world, and you still have women who parade themselves as professional victims. It is absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely dishonest. It's not true. We don't live in a patriarchy, because if we did, we would not be seeing the foolishness that we are seeing today. Let's keep it going.
Fellas, don't lose yourself out here trying to make an ungrateful woman happy. You deserve happiness too. Don't do it.
Shout out to this lady, whoever she is. You have to understand, guys, I was there. A lot of the men that I've spoken to were there. A lot of guys my age were there. They've dealt with women like this. You will be drained if you decide to take a woman like this seriously. She said, do not waste your time. She said, do not waste your time trying to make an ungrateful woman happy. You cannot make a miserable woman happy. It's impossible. You can't do it. So don't even try. I did a consultation with this one guy and he said, man, it just seems like every single thing I do, it doesn't matter. There's always an issue. And that's because you're right. It is not enough. It's never going to be enough. You're trying to pour water into a broken cup. It's never going to stay.
Fellas, don't lose yourself out here trying to.
The key word in that was, fellas, don't lose yourself. Guys literally lose themselves. Some guys even push themselves to the point of losing their life by taking it. When I tell guys, when we talk about purpose and all these other things in the manosphere, like when we tell guys to stay on your purpose, one of the things that will always drain from your purpose is undeserving women, ungrateful women. They will literally drain your purpose. And one of the reasons why guys end up deleting themselves is because they literally gave their purpose to a woman who didn't deserve it. Like they literally have no other purpose to live anymore because it was drained from them. That's how serious this is. I can't stress it enough. Men need to be vetting for mental and emotional stability. You guys that are out here fiending to get a girlfriend, ignoring the red flags because you want companionship so bad, dude, it is not worth your life wasting it on a woman who doesn't deserve the positive energy that you are bringing into your life. These are the type of women that will cheat on you. These are the type of women that will divorce you. These are the types of women who will do all manner of just foolishness to you because she doesn't deserve you. She doesn't appreciate your presence in her life. She doesn't appreciate the positive energy that you're putting into her life. That is what she means by an ungrateful woman. You can't satisfy these women. It is an empty void, a pointless revolving door. Break the cycle and get away from these types of women. This woman is absolutely correct. Hats off to her. Let's keep it pushing.